Welcome back to the beginner's guide. I promised we'd be doing some oil today, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. So I have everything we need to submit for oil processing, and there we go.
Milestone.
Now before we get started with this, I actually can get petroleum power. This is like the second step to oil. I do have the plastic and rubber already here. So I figured we could submit that in 10 minutes because I have extra plastic and rubber that I found out in the world. That's all fine and dandy. I do have a couple things to show you while we're waiting for that. We can also check on the dogs here because my dogs seem to really want me to destroy this planet. Because, yeah, you guessed it. I got another nuclear bomb. I have 5 of them now. And I'm not sure how I feel about this. Like, my dogs want me to have a nuclear fallout on this planet. But whatever. So, I've been working on the design of the building a little bit. And I've been trying to beautify it a little bit. So, I built a little bridge out the front of it to the entrance. And it's a nice truss bridge. I'm liking the truss bridge, and of course, I gotta build bridges, you know? I'm an actual engineer, and I design bridges for a living, so I gotta build a bridge. Come on. Now, I've never designed a truss bridge before, so would this actually be sufficient? Maybe, probably, possibly, I don't know. It might be too long. I have no idea. But I threw some signs in, so if you put down signs, and you can change the color. So I chose this layout, or no, I chose this layout here. It usually has text, but I deleted the text. And then I selected kind of a light yellow, so it's like a light glow. And then if you do emission strength 3, it puts off a light. So if I turn this to nighttime, look at that. That is beautiful. So if you run under here, it's lit up. I love this. And then I started putting lights in the building as well. I used the bigger signs. Ignore the bottom floors because I didn't have enough crystal oscillators to do that. But in here, the building is actually lit up. And it looks awesome. I used that same like yellow glow. So yeah, there's lighting in this building. Once I get some more crystal oscillators, I'll finish out the lighting on the rest of the floors. But for now, I lit up from this floor up. All the floors above are completely lit up. Out, smacked my head. And we have a nice walkway here. As you can see, we got all the floors lit up. It's so cool. I love seeing it at night. As you can see, the building is nice and lit up. But we'll go back to daytime so you can actually see. I mean, even still, you can see the lighting in here. It's really cool. For you to do this is really hard to find on the internet. So if you go to options and you go to video, to get the lighting the way I have it, you scroll down in video until you get global illumination. Then you turn this to high. So normally it's off, but you can turn it to medium or high. Then you can set like what the lighting mood is. Moody bright's pretty good, but you can choose whichever one you want. But that's how I have the lighting. That's how that works. Now, while we're waiting, we might as well do a quick blueprint tutorial as well. So over here, I set up a blueprint designer, and this is my design for a power tower with the battery storage. I know I mentioned this before. So I put down 2-meter foundations because that is the tallest I can go without this power tower being outside the limits. And I centered it on 2x2. Then I put the power storage right underneath, and it fits really nicely here. And then what you can do is you can connect these together so they're always connected. And then you can color them whatever color you want. I happen to do the yellow and kind of tealish color. And yeah, so that is, it's super simple. So that's our blueprint. So then you come over here. So there's two sets. There's the storage box. This is where it stores items. Then over here, you can actually name your blueprint. So I'm going to name this Power Tower Storage. And I don't care about the description. And we'll just add the blueprint here for now. Not a big deal. I didn't select an icon or anything. I should have. There we go. Power Tower. There we go. So, yep. Alright, it's saved. Now we just hit Save Blueprint. Then we can clear the Blueprint Designer. Everything goes in here, so you can just grab it. Doesn't take a lot of stuff. It's completely cleared. There we go. So I guess while we're waiting, we can kind of explain some of the new stuff that we got here. So we now have an oil extractor, and this will be placed on, obviously, oil nodes. But we also got the refinery. Now the refinery is a massive building, but we'll just put one down so we can kind of take a good look at this. And we have several options. This seems really complicated right away, but it's really not that bad. So what we can do, or what we want to look at here, is we really only have 3 options to start with. We can do plastic, which takes crude oil, and you can create plastic with a little bit of byproduct. We can create rubber, which is also crude oil to create some rubber and some byproduct. Or we can create fuel, which is crude oil, create some fuel and some polymer resin. That's all possible. So what happens here is the second option, so residual plastic, residual rubber, residual fuel, that's what you use the byproduct for to create stuff. So if we choose to go the plastic and rubber route, we'll get this heavy oil residue. We can take that heavy oil residue and convert it to fuel. That's what that is all about. Now if we do the fuel route, we get this polymer resin, and we can convert it to either residual plastic or residual rubber using polymer resin and some water. So hope that made sense. There's also petroleum coke, which is heavy oil residue. I've never used this recipe. I don't really see a good point for it, but if you know a good point for it, you can definitely do it. There are alternative recipes that we do not have right now. That's completely fine. So we can scan for oil now. If we look at the map, we'll notice that it is nowhere near us at all. So one location is going to be here. And as soon as that pops up, oh my goodness, it's taking forever. One location will be here, one will be over here. I don't know which one we want to go to. Well, that's actually closer, technically, I guess. So we have normals and up here. I know there's oil over here as well. I don't think it's going to show up on the map, though, because it's going to count these as 3 separate ones, which is kind of annoying. But I know we got oil over here, too. I like this area better. It looks better. And it'll be easier to set up a train line, so we'll set up oil over there. And we'll highlight the marker so we can see it. And now that's coming back. So we might as well get prepared to send off the next one. There we go. And this is what the dimensional depot is good for. So you can just come in here and pull out what you need. And there you go. Now we can submit this right away. And send that off.
Milestone.
And now we have a new building, which is a power. It's a fuel power generator, which is actually really good. So this is going to require rubber, so we need to make sure we bring rubber with us in order to handle this. And so I'll make sure I have it in my inventory, and then we never have to worry about it. So there's that. Now, this would be nice to get the manufacturer. but we need plastic for that. And then the monorail train technology, I definitely want to get this before we end the episode, because then I can start setting up trains in between episodes. This is going to take me a while to set up. I'm going to set up a blueprint for that. I'll kind of show you step by step how I did that when I get to it. We could also do fluid packaging. We don't need it yet, but it'll be useful when we actually want to do a jetpack. So we'll probably do that later. But for now, what we're gonna do is we want to drag power over there. Now I think I want to set up the blueprint. So I'm just gonna show you how I set up the first blueprint. So here's the power tower storage blueprint. You can set this anywhere, but for example, I would set this like that and let it build. And then what I'd do is take my power line and extend it as far as I possibly could. So let's say we go, see how far this thing can go. We'd go to there, right? We'd go right about there. So then I'd kind of mark out the location mentally, go to my blueprint, plop it down, hope it's facing the right way, and then connect them. And that's how I would set up these blueprints. I don't actually know if these can connect. I haven't tried it, but there's like a blueprint connect feature. I just wanted to show you how I would set this up, but for now I'm going to temporarily set up just a small power pole, because this is going to take me a while to actually set up. And I just want to kind of get this video out to you. And I want to set this up in a way that is really easy to follow. So I'll just bring a power line out to the oil, and I'll meet you out there. Alright, I set up a bit of a platform. The oil node is right here. We're going to work with a normal one for now. So I think this is pretty useful. This is definitely a good way to teach you as well. So we'll do an oil extractor. You can do the same thing as you did with the miner. If you set a foundation over it, this will actually snap to the foundation level and it'll still extract the oil. So keep that in mind. This is actually a really good tip. I'm going to face it this way, and then we can cover this up. And I do have power. So what we want to do here is we can max this out to 300. That is the most a Mark 1 pipeline can handle. I think we go the route of producing more plastic and rubber, and we convert that into residual fuel, and that way we don't have to deal with extracting water right now. And then we can just send the fuel to some power plants, so we'll generate a little bit extra power. I think that's the route we go. We're going to set up 10 refineries. 5 are going to be rubber, 5 are going to be plastic. We'll just split it evenly for now. If we need to make more down the line, we can. We do have 2 other nodes here, so that should probably be enough room. We'll set that up right there. And we don't need a lot of room in between. And in fact, we could probably make do with that. But yeah, we might do that. Heck, we could probably make do with that. That'd be really tight, but we could do it. No, we'll give ourselves half a foundation at least. So one side is going to be rubber. Let's do rubber there. And one side's going to be plastic. And there we go. So we'll do 5 on this side. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we'll do 5 on this side. 2, 3, 4, 5. And now all we have to do is set up pipeline junctions. We'll set it up right down the middle. And it's just setting it up at every single input, like so. And then I like the clean pipelines. The regular pipelines suck. So I'm going to use the clean ones, and we just connect everything up together. These pipes can hold 300 fluid per minute. I just want to double check that. Yeah, they can carry 300 fluid per minute, which is exactly what we're pumping out. So this will be 300. Perfect. So now all we have to do is connect this to here. And that's it for the inputs. So now we know we have heavy oil residue coming out of each side. And we have rubber and plastic coming out. So the simplest way to do this is we got, what, 20 rubber per minute, that's 100. We could do a Mark II, but I'll do Mark IIIs just because they're easier to deal with. No, I only need Mark IIs. I'll do Mark IIs. I'll do Mark IIs on all of these. And I set these up higher because we gotta do the pipes underneath it. And then we need to get pipeline junctions here, so we want to make sure we're set up properly. And then we can connect the pipelines pretty easily. So we know we're doing 50 on this side of the heavy oil residue. So that's 10 times 5, that's 50. And then we can do the same thing over here. We'll get some pipeline junctions. I think right there will work. So we just line it up down the row. It's just dealing with byproducts. It's not a big deal. So there we go. And then we get clean pipelines. Connect everything back up. Now ideally we can merge everything back together. That's not a big deal. We're gonna need some more space, so I'm just gonna pump out more foundations this way. So now we know we are getting 100 heavy oil residue from this side, and we're getting 50 from this side. If we merge it, that's 150. Let's put down another set of refineries. And I'm gonna space this just a little bit. So we'll set it up there. And we need residual fuel, so that's 60 per minute. So for 150, this is 120, and then we need to divide this one in half. So you could either set to 50%, or you could set this to 20. Doesn't really matter. It'll get you the same result either way. So now we know we have 60, 120, 150, which is exactly what we're pulling from these machines. And now we need to... yeah, there's nothing else we need here. So we'll line it up with this, because I think it'll look better if we do. And then we just need to connect pipes. So if we connect this pipe here, and this pipe here, and we just run it down the line. And there we go. And then we make sure we don't connect these because they're different fluid types. We don't want to connect those. So now we know we're producing 40, 80, 100 fuel per minute. If we place down a fuel powered generator, we can take a look at how much it burns. If you click this little exclamation point, fuel has a burn rate of 20 per minute. So we know we're producing 100. We can put down 5 of these. That's how you can figure that out. So if we want to put this down nice and neat, We'll press H to lock it into place so we can kind of line this up. So line it up like that. And we don't need a lot of space in between. Maybe if we do that. So put one there, put one there. Do we have room for another one? We do. Now we can turn this around, press H, and back this off a little bit. And we can put 2 more down. So it's not bad. It's pretty easy. Then we just put junctions at all of these. And then we also need junctions at these. And then the clean pipeline. Merge all this together. Did that come in weird? Nope, it came in right. Perfect. And then might as well do that. And that. Combine all this together. And there we go. That's all the pipe work. Pretty simple, right? I hope it wasn't too complicated. So that's the pipe work. Now we need storage for plastic and rubber. And that's pretty easy. We'll just combine everything. Double storage like that. And then we'll set up another one here. And then we need to set up 2 smart splitters, which I did unlock. I handcrafted the AI limiters and I unlocked them. We need to set up smart splitters. So if you haven't done that, you need to make sure you do that. And this is where we're going to send everything in here. And at the last one, we're going to set a dimensional depot on top so we have access to this at all times. A Mark III, because that keeps up with the dimensional depot. And just in case, we'll set these to Mark III as well. And then from here, we just need Mark IIs, which will connect to everything that we've been building so far. So we'll put mergers on all of these. And Mark II belts in between. And then all we have to do is connect this with the straight mode. We'll do the same thing over here. Merge all of these together. Connect them all up with belts. And then connect it up into this. Perfect. So now everything's connected. Why did we need smart splitters, you may ask? So, we never want this power to run out of fuel. So this thing needs to be running constantly, 100% of the time. We can never let this shut off. If this storage unit completely fills up, everything backs up and those shut off and then we don't have power anymore. So that's the reason why we want to set the smart splitters. So if you look in the smart splitter, the input is from the back. So if you look at it facing where the input goes, you have 3 directions of outputs. You have left, center, and right. So if you look in here, we have a left output, a center output, and a right output. So we can leave the center output as any. The right output, we're going to set this as overflow. So if it overflows at all, it'll send it to the right. Now, same thing with this one here. Except this time, to the left, we're going to go overflow. And then what we're going to do is we're going to send it to a sink. And we'll put the sink back here. Right about there. Well, I guess it doesn't even need to be that far because we just need to make sure we can merge this at some point. I think if we set the sink right over here, we can find the merge point. So we'll do that. And we will merge it right there. So Mark 2. And then to make sure we're pushing enough, we'll do Mark 4 into the system. But the others can be Mark 2. And we just connect them up together. And that is the system. That's everything. We have it completely set up. Now all I need to do is connect it to power. And we are good to go. So let me do that real quick. Alright, things are connected to power. So now we just gotta let this oil extractor get moving, which it is. So we should start seeing some of these fill up with oil, which it is. So now we're producing rubber. And on this side we should be producing plastic. Perfect. Everything is working as intended. So we should see these turn on one by one, which they are. So with pipes, they're going to try to balance out. So if the first machine is full, it's going to go to the second machine, third machine, fourth machine, fifth machine. And then once they're all basically full, it'll try to balance. But I don't think we're ever going to run into that issue. We'll be okay. So we can already see rubber and we can see plastic heading into our storage system. This is already working. So momentarily we should see plastic and rubber entering our dimensional depot, which they are doing. And that means we're good. We've done it. We've done exactly what we needed to. Now the question is, when is this going to kick on? And it just did. So now we should start seeing fuel generating. So not everything is fully turned on, so this isn't going to fully kick on yet. But it will once everything is fully activated. The machines have to fill up one at a time. It's a little bit of a warm-up period. In the meantime, I'm going to set up power connection for all of these, so that when the time comes, it won't be a struggle to try to get these hooked up to power. And this isn't too difficult. I will literally just set this one out here. Alright, so I think these are basically ready. The first two are full. The next ones will start filling up more, so we might as well just connect them to power, because no time like the present, right? So these are super loud, by the way. Like, they're the loudest, one of the loudest power plants in the game. It is so annoying. But we do generate 250 megawatts per power plant. So we have 5 of these, so that should be an additional 1,250. We were sitting at 2,400, so yep, we got plenty of power now. But we are consuming a lot more too, because the refineries consume a lot of power as well. Each of these consumes 30 megawatts. We have 10 plus 3. That's 13 of them. So just a quick calculation. That's 390 megawatts of power, which checks out. And I never hooked this up to power. That would have been devastating. Make sure you hook up your sink to power. If you don't do that, it'll be devastating. But everything should be functioning for the most part. We have to wait for the oil to fully catch up in all the machines, but it should be functional. And it looks like we are functional. Once these are full, so this one's basically full. Once this one's full, these two will kind of hover around that 5 to 6, and we'll be good. So the only thing really left to do out here is to make sure everything is colored. And I like to color code things by what they push out. So oil will do black. So yeah, that's literally it. That's all there is to plastic and rubber production. Your first basic steel power, your first basic oil production We decided to produce more plastic and rubber because once we can pick this up, we'll know we actually have some. And then we could always produce more plastic and rubber too. That's not a big deal. And we're generating a little power on the side, which is not a bad deal at all. So what I'm going to do is head back to the base. We can submit the train milestone. And then in between episodes, I can start setting up some massive infrastructure. And I'll feel a lot better about where I'm at in this series. But for now, we're just chugging along. That's what we're doing. We're back at the hub. I want to submit the monorail train technology. I have everything available. We might as well submit it. This is going to be a big key factor in our world. So basically what we now have are trains. And this is super important. I'll go over this in the next episode, but in a nutshell, we got train stations. We can set up transportation on railways. I am super stoked to have this now. I need to set up a blueprint for monorails, for the trains, so that I can build these easier. But essentially what I want to do between this episode and the next episode is get some infrastructure up. And I don't mean actually set up trains, I mean build the actual infrastructure. And then when I do the episode, I can show you how to set trains up and how to properly build train networks. So that's my plan for the next episode. This episode was a little bit shorter. If you like the longer episode, sorry. This one didn't really have a whole lot to talk about. Oh my goodness, we got some stuff to sink. But yeah, we didn't really have a whole lot to talk about. The oil production was pretty quick. So oil is fairly easy. So I hope it helped. I hope you learned something and that it was actually beneficial to watch it. So if you learned something, leave a like, leave a comment down in the comment section, and I'll see you next time.